Disney Cruise Line may only have 4 ships right now, but they have so many choices on itineraries. Which one is best? Hi Disney Cruisers, welcome back to the channel. Hi, I'm Ashley. I am so glad that you were here. When you were first planning your first ever Disney cruise, you're probably like, I don't care where I go. It's all the same to me because it's all new. I haven't been anywhere on any ship, so who cares where the ship takes me? My first couple cruises, I was the exact same way. I didn't even care if we went back to the same place over and over and over again. As long as I was on a Disney ship, I was just fine. Until I took my very first 7-night cruise on the Fantasy, and then all of a sudden, I had an opinion. I had an opinion on which itinerary that I had to go on. I know what you're thinking. Ashley, you just told us that you prefer sea days over port days, but I'm kind of talking about that, but not really. I am more focused on where those sea days occur in the itinerary, and that's what really makes me decide if I want to go on a certain cruise or not. I'm going to make an assumption and say that most people, when they first cruise Disney Cruise Line, sail on the Disney Dream. I think this because, one, they are shorter cruises, only 3-night or 4-night, so a lot of people don't know if they like cruising, so it's kind of like to get their feet wet. And 2, because it is closest to Disney World. Oh, and 3, they're the larger ships, so some people just think that they need to be on a larger ship because it's bigger. Now, what the 4-night Dream has going for it is it has a pretty nice itinerary. I like the layout of this itinerary more so than any of the other ships, unless you were on an itinerary that isn't common, maybe because they are coming out of dry dock, they're repositioning, or for some reason they had to rearrange how the ports normally lay out in the schedule. For example, there's a 5-night Maritime cruise on the Magic this December, and in that itinerary they have switched up the order of the ports for that specific cruise, which I think make that cruise more enjoyable. The reason why I think this 4-night Dream is a fabulous itinerary is because on your very last day, your whole full day, like you wake up on the ship and you go to bed on the ship, that whole last day, you are not at a port. You are sailing. It's a sea day. I know I like sea days better, but I really think I would even choose a cruise based on that last day. If it was a 7-night cruise, not that they do this, but if there was a 7-night cruise and every single day stopped at a port, but your last day was a sea day, I think I'd be okay with that. On these 7-night fantasy sailings to the Eastern and the Western Caribbean, you go to Castaway Cay on your final day. On the 4-night sailing of the Dream, you go to Castaway Cay on the second to last day. So here's my issue. First off, I feel like when you are not at a port, you have more time to enjoy the ship. You kind of don't really care too much about time, like what time of day it is and where you have to be and when. And it just seems like a longer day. When you're at port and you get off the ship and you're there all day, you spend, your afternoon in the town, and then by the time you get back on the ship and clean up, it's time for dinner and a show, and then most likely if you have little kids, you're probably heading off to bed. It also feels like to me if you spent all day off the ship, when you're like reboarding the ship and then you're only on it for a couple hours and then you go to sleep and then the next morning you get up and you get off the ship, it's kind of like, didn't I just get on the ship? Like, that was the shortest cruise ever. So I do not like port days being your final full day of your vacation. Here's a second reason why I do not like that, especially when it is Castaway Cay. When your final day of your cruise is Castaway Cay, it is heartbreaking. Like, heart-wrenchingly heartbreaking. Is that like when you say the definition of a word, but then you say the word and the definition, so like it doesn't work or something, or it makes no sense? I feel like that made no sense, but I feel like you get me and you know what I'm talking about. Here's what I mean. Everyone knows Castaway Cay. If you don't know the name, you just know Disney has a private island. Everyone knows it. It's on all the commercials. It's like one of the main reasons why a lot of people take Disney Cruise Line over other cruise lines. It is spectacular in its own right. I'm not saying Castaway sucks. The reason why I do not like it on your last day is because I think it totally doesn't suck. I look forward to Castaway. I think it is such a super fun, relaxing day. It's kind of like Typhoon Lagoon on steroids. It is what Typhoon Lagoon thinks it is. Like, they have a barrier out by their ocean so no waves come in, so I can just sit there in my chair and watch my kids play in the water, and I don't even have to stress. Like, it's the only time my kids play in the ocean where I don't stress over the fact that a wave is going to come knock them down or their undertow is going to carry them out. Because I'm not stressed, they're like totally carefree, and they basically just run around with little buckets trying to chase those little minnows. So if you ever see kids just running with buckets at Castaway, like chasing after something in the water a mile down the beach, those are my kids. I don't know. I'm not going to tell them they're not ever going to catch one. I'm just going to act like that they could and that they just got to try harder because they are having fun. So I love Castaway so much that I look forward to it on my cruise. When it is the very last day of my cruise, I kind of resent Castaway. It's kind of like, do I really want to get off the ship and spend my last day of the cruise at Castaway? Then if I get off the ship and spend it at Castaway, I'm thinking, oh crap, I'm missing all the things that I want to be doing on the ship. Tomorrow's the last day. I'm wasting my afternoon. Kind of like a lose-lose situation, whether you stay on the ship or you get off at Castaway. I so wish that the 7-night itineraries on the Disney Fantasy would change up their Castaway day. All they have to do is move it back one day. I would love it if they moved it to Thursday and then Friday was a sea day. It really does bother me. I hate it. The dream always has the last day a sea day when you're on the 4-night. So then when you're at Castaway, you actually can literally enjoy that day like completely, because you know you have an entire next day where you get to spend on the ship doing whatever you want to do. The 5-night magic that I mentioned in the beginning, they actually are having Castaway on their first full day. So you get on the ship in Miami and then you just wake up the next day and you're in Castaway. I think that's awesome. I also think it's awesome because sometimes the classic ships have a hard time docking at Castaway because of winds. And so this way, like if they can't get in it for some reason, they could try more days if they have to because it's at the beginning of your cruise. Like, how awesome is it to go to Castaway on the very first day of your vacation? That's pretty awesome. Like, nobody hardly ever gets to do that. I'm just saying. Castaway should not be your very last day. And even if it's not Castaway, it should not be a port day on your last day. You should be at sea on your last day. I seriously, not joking, pick my itineraries based on what you do on the last day. The last 7-night that I went on, we were at Castaway, got up at, I was planning on getting off early, like 7, well, like when it opened, so like late 7-ish, early 8. But it was raining, so we didn't get off, we ate breakfast on the ship, then we got off. We were back on the ship by 12 something because I was not happy sitting on the beach looking at the ship that I wanted to be on. I know some of you are watching this thinking, Ashley, stop saying stuff like this because my cruise is going to a port on the last day. Okay, it's not like the end of the world. You're gonna hate your cruise. It's just what I prefer. That's what I do when I book a cruise. That's what I'm looking for. I'm seeing what's on the last day. You are still gonna have the best vacation of your entire life. I mean, like seriously, like I post videos about pretty much my opinion, why I like certain things over others, but they're just my opinion and it's just based on what I've done and what I like. It's not like horrible, gonna ruin your vacation. Even if you went on like the lamest Disney cruise, it's still gonna be awesome. Like even if you just sat in your room like the whole time, it would still be awesome. And I know those of you who are in the Castaway Club are sitting there saying, yes, you're right. And those who haven't cruised yet, you're like, okay, it can't be that great. But for real, it is. I've devoted my entire free time to talking about Disney Cruise Line. I feel like I'm rambling a lot in this video. Just let me say this. Even if Castaway is your last day, or you're at a port on your last day, try and be excited about that port. Don't be super duper sad that whole day because it's your last day. And then when you have time, just book the next cruise right after it and do a back-to-back, and then your problem's solved. So you're welcome. I do still have a giveaway going on. It's up in the I button and down below. Oh, if you are part of the Disney Cruiser family already, give me a like down below. Thank you so much for checking out my channel and taking time out of your day to spread the Disney Cruise love. I will see you later in the next video, cruisers. Bye, y'all.